tragic, the occult, and religion.
Good afternoon and welcome to Just News. On Monday, March 12th, I'm James Mahon.
And I'm Charlotte Frost. The headlines.
The NHS brings its appointment system into the 21st century.
Sheffield city centre is on the move at last.
And for Science Week in Sheffield, we go back in time a century.
But first, medical advice must be made more accessible to secondary school pupils. That's according to the Department of Health.
One of the biggest changes would see young people texting their school nurses for information and help when coping with issues such as teenage pregnancy, obesity and depression.
James is something of an info geek, so we sent him out earlier to investigate.
Over the past year, the Departments of Education and Health and groups of young people have been putting together a programme that Health Secretary Andrew Lansley says will bridge the divide between school nurses and students. Young people will be able to book appointments directly by text and email, bypassing their teachers. The programme will also allow teenagers to get advice and information on issues they may be too shy to talk about in person. Those in the phone industry feel the changes are more catered to a young digital generation.
It's definitely a good idea. Obviously, things like Blackberries, a lot of the phones these days are like Androids and stuff like that. They all rely on emailing, texting, that kind of thing. Kids these days, obviously, a lot of things can be kind of intimidating for people. They're always texting, even for adults, you know, speaking in person is kind of uncomfortable. So it's definitely a good idea allowing texting, emailing, that sort of thing to be available for students to, you know, get the answers that they need, really.
Under the Health Department's new vision, sound medical advice for young people is just a text message away. This is James Mahon for Just News in Sheffield.
Plans for a new market at the bottom of the moor in Sheffield have been discussed for years, but the council have finally reached an agreement with a private company to make it happen. Anne Bashir has more.
The mall has traditionally been a busy shopping street, but in recent years, trade has been lacking. Many of the shops there are now cut-price retailers or empty. But the council are hoping plans for Sheffield Market at the bottom of the mall will once again bring shoppers to the area in high numbers. The council have finally signed an agreement with a commercial partner, and the new market is set to be completed by the end of next year.
I think it's about time it were done. It's been going on for how long now?
Quite a while.
Couple of 3 years, I think, I would imagine, yeah.
That Tesco's at top at Wicker, they're taking all our customer away from here, aren't they? So we're better off with a market on here.
I hope the prices are reasonable because the important thing about markets is that the stall holders can hire pitchers at a reasonable cost.
The council says that trades from the upper mall have agreed to move to the lower mall, but not all the trades are fully aware of the council's plans.
We're still not quite in the picture, you know what I mean? We're not 100% what's going to happen. It's been going on for years and they finally got round to it, but as you can see, something wants doing because just look at all these shops empty, everything's empty, and we need more people down here.
The council says another significant step forward in the regeneration of Sheffield city centre has been taken this week, and buildings work is set to begin this summer.
People in Sheffield don't know too much about the ongoing plans for Sheffield Market, but most are looking forward to it. Amber Shi, Just News, the mall.
Plans to build a new Tesco store in Sheffield are set to go ahead after a 7-year wait. The supermarket giant is in talks to take over the Territorial Army site at Manor Top and create at least 200 jobs. You are twice as likely to get killed if you don't wear a seatbelt, according to the Department of Transport. Now South Yorkshire Police have organised a week-long initiative to make people more aware of the importance of seatbelts. Matt King reports.
Starting today, South Yorkshire Police got the go-ahead to launch a week-long seatbelt enforcement campaign, which aims to teach road users the importance of wearing a seatbelt. South Yorkshire Police have joined the European-wide seatbelt crackdown led by TISPOL, who are urging road users to belt up on every journey. In 2009, of the 1,059 car-related deaths, 21% were found not to be wearing a seatbelt, with passengers and drivers aged 17 to 34 with the lowest seatbelt wearing rate.
I do definitely check because I don't want to be responsible for anybody.
I mean, obviously it's their responsibility if they're over the age of 14, but they should wear a seatbelt always, yeah.
To be frankly honest, no I don't. Sometimes I'm inclined, if I'm doing only short journeys, I may even leave my own off for a short period of time, which I know is not right.
A lot of it's times I think it's down to the individual's responsibility. I mean, I've been told that if you don't wear a seatbelt in a car, it's the driver that gets penalised rather than the person that's not wearing the seatbelt. But, you know, is it always the responsibility of the driver to make the person in the car?
Especially with children now, a lot of children sitting there front with their parents, school runs, a lot of people don't bother.
I wouldn't want anything to happen to my daughter in an accident if someone wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Do you like wearing car seats?
Yeah!
The campaign will mean there will be dedicated policing operations at known casualty hotspots. Drivers caught without a seatbelt will face a fine of £60, or if prosecuted, up to £500.
We're on Upper Hanover Street, one of a number of busy routes in and around Sheffield. Figures released by the Department of Transport show that you're twice as likely to die in a car crash if you're not wearing a seatbelt, and over 300 lives could be saved if you wore a seatbelt on every occasion. The hope is now that South Yorkshire Police's campaign will set an example to the rest of the UK. Matt King, Just News.
Barker's Pool will host the evening celebration when the Olympic torch comes to Sheffield. The site has been chosen because of its 10,000 capacity and city centre location. The event will take place on the 25th of June and include music and appearances from local celebrities. It will also be free to attend. Sheffield is one of only 5 overnight stops for the torch in Yorkshire and reflects the city's high sporting profile.
In sport, ice hockey, Sheffield Steelers beat the Cardiff Devils 4-0 last night, setting them up nicely for their head-to-head with league leaders Belfast Giants next weekend. Sheffield are currently second in the table. Their club captain says the team needs to keep the league title in their sights.
Just realising what's on the line for us. I mean, you know, we got a tough task already. You know, having to win out, and then with the 2 games in Belfast next week. So you know, it would have been stupid to kind of falter before that weekend. So I think just realising what actually is on the line, and then you know, sometimes you do need reminding as a team, and yeah, I think we responded well to it.
It's Science and Engineering Week, and down at Kelham Island Industrial Museum in Sheffield, they're celebrating the Steel City's industrial past. The River Don steam engine, the most powerful steam engine in Britain, will be operating throughout the week. Our reporter Emily Brinand visited earlier today.
Here at Kelham Island Industrial Museum, people can learn about Sheffield's steel industry past. Behind these doors lives the most powerful steam engine in Britain. It was manufactured in 1905 by Davy Brothers in Darnall. It moved from the River Don Steelworks in 1983 and was then installed here for preservation. In its heyday, the engine produced armour plates for battleships like this one. Kelham Island celebrates the importance of having the River Don engine on show to the public.
The only one we know of at this sort of horsepower, the working steam engine of this horsepower in this country certainly, possibly in Europe, possibly in the world. I've worked here 25, 26 years and I've enjoyed running it. You know, I still get pleasure from it now, although it does tend to get a little bit mundane, but no, I get the pleasure more from seeing kids and the grown-ups and all. Steam comes in that pipe into steam chests on the back. A valve opens and allows steam into these 3 cylinders, not all at once, in turn. That drives the piston down. It stops, and steam is then injected into the bottom of the cylinder and drives the piston up. That's why it's called double acting.
visitors are really impressed with the engine.
From one end to the other, and they can't stop and turn it around and put it in. They have to be able to roll it to and fro, so it's fairly essential that the machine will stop and reverse as quickly as it did, because there's an awful lot of weight there to actually stop and start again, so I found that was very impressive.
It's only Science and Engineering Week until Sunday, but the River Don engine will continue to be on display here at Kelham Island Museum. Emily Brinnand, Just News.
Amazing history there. There needs to be more acknowledgement for that piece. And the weather. Temperatures didn't quite match Ibiza's as predicted, but early mist and fog made way for long sunny spells and a high of 13 degrees. Expect long clear spells this evening with low cloud and patchy fog developing overnight. The low will be 3 degrees.
That's all from Just News. Join us again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.
Magic, the occult, and